Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians absolutely dominate in this one. They get the 5-1 win in game 2 and tie this series up 1 game apiece here. A big game for the Canadians here. This was a must win really, and in a lot of ways you don't really want to go down 2-0. Obviously, not exactly a must win, but it really felt like this was a game that the Canadians needed to have if they wanted to be competitive throughout this entire series. They actually get a very good game here. They played very, very well from start to finish. Felt like, for the most part, we got everything we needed to get out of our players here. Obviously a lot more of this depth scoring, guys that, don't usually get on the score sheet or are contributing in the playoffs here, which is huge. Still seeing a little bit of lack of production from our top unit there, but they'll come. I felt like this game was a good game for them. I felt like, especially early on, I felt like the top line guys were doing a nice job of getting there. Cole Caulfield obviously went bar down and out in the third period, I believe. So he's definitely knocking on the door. He's gonna get there. But in the meantime, it's huge to have our depth guys coming in and scoring big goals here. And we start right away with Alex Newhook here, a minute 36 into the game. They get a nice tip in goal. Just nice puck movement all the way around, and Gouley gets the puck on the kind of the half wall area, top of the circles on the right side. He's able to kind of take this shot that Newhook is able to tip underneath the arm of Alex Lyon and goes into the back of the net. 1:36 in, and we're up 1-0. A couple minutes later, Mike Matheson doubles down. He just absolutely wires one, like a complete snipe from the point, gets it off the face-off, and there's a ton of traffic in front. It finds its way through everybody and winds up into the top corner. I think it was bar down and in as well. So a really nice shot from Mike Matheson that gives us that 2-0 lead. I think in the first period there was definitely a lot of chances for the Canadians. Obviously, they score on 2 goals there, but I think Buffalo, you can continue to see how their forecheck is really aiding them. Every time the Canadians make any sort of error, the Buffalo Sabres are there to capitalize on it, and they definitely got some good chances off of that. So it's definitely something as we go into this series we need to continue to be aware of, as we can't have too many mistakes happen defensively, because Buffalo is going to capitalize eventually on some of those mistakes. I also felt like it was a little bit of a discipline issue going on too. A lot of penalties for Montreal, especially in that second period there. We definitely took a lot of penalty, gave them a lot of chances on the power play. Did a nice job on the penalty kill, of course, and that was obviously big for us to get a nice penalty kill there. But at the same time, you gotta you don't want to give them too many opportunities and get them going momentum wise, even if they don't score the goal. So it's kind of frustrating there. But overall, great game there, right? In the second period, we kind of capitalized on the PK. It wasn't exactly a shorthanded goal, but as Carrier was coming out of the box, a nice play from Jake Evans finds Newhook on that back door, and he taps that one home to give us a 3-0 lead there. So that's Newhook's second of the game there. His first goal, by the way, is second of the playoffs there. Gouley and Hudson, the assist, both their 5th assist there. Mike Matheson gets his first in the first period there, and Phil Deneau gets his 2nd assist of the season, the playoffs there. And then Alex Newhook gets his 3rd goal of the postseason, his 2nd of the night. Jake Evans gets the 2nd assist, and Noah Dobson on the score sheet for the first time, getting his 1st assist there. Great stuff all the way around. Zach Benson at the very end of that second period gets the Sabres back to within 2 there. Kind of just got hemmed in. Definitely it's tough at the last minute of the second period. It's tough to let in a goal. You never really like that, but it just feels like they kind of just overwhelmed us a little bit. We weren't getting the puck out of the zone, and eventually they find a nice pass there that finds Benson on that backside. He puts that one home. So unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? And we're still up 3-1 at that point going into the third period. You'd like to prevent that from happening, but it is what it is, obviously. Then we go into the third period. I think this is the biggest goal. This is the dagger right here, as Carrier gets an unassisted goal. Ends up being kind of a 2-on-1 that he picks the puck up on, a little turnover that he benefits from, and he absolutely wires this one on the 2-on-1. He had to know on that backside waiting for a pass, but he goes to shoot instead. I think it was a good decision, obviously, because he ends up sniping this one home, making it 4-1, and that's a big goal. I mean, especially considering the fact that Benson had just scored in the last minute of period 2. Definitely could have generated some offense for, and generate a little bit of a comeback for the Sabres in that third period, but we shut that down less than 4 minutes in. Carrier gets that goal, and we are off and running to the end. We just played a pretty solid game from there on out. The Sabres didn't really have anything going. We got a couple more shots. Obviously, as I mentioned, Cole Caulfield almost had a nice one. It went crossbar and out on the power play, I believe. Didn't go, obviously, so frustrating there, but either way, it was playing great, continued to play a great, 60-minute performance, and then as soon as the Buffalo Sabres pull the goalie there, Nick Suzuki bangs home his third of the playoffs on the empty net. Josh Anderson gets his second assist with a nice little steal and pass there, so nice way to, absolutely just ice it as soon as they pull the goalie there. We find a way to score. Big goal. That's exactly what we needed in that situation. Buffalo had nothing left, a little bit of chippiness to end the game, which is per usual, of course, but we get a big win. Obviously in a game where, we ended up getting outshot 30-28 there, won the face-offs a little bit. It was a much closer face-off game than the previous one was. It was 56-6 to 43-4, so we'll take that for sure. Definitely got more penalty minutes than they did, 22-12. I think Anderson had a 10-minute misconduct that doesn't really help our numbers there, obviously, but even still, we definitely got penalized more than they did. They out hit us 44-18 there, so definitely paid the price in this game a little bit. But at the end of the day, like it's a big game. We absolutely dominated in a lot of ways in this game. Buffalo never really seemed like they were in it. And I think this is exactly what I was saying in the first game. I felt like the Canadiens got a little bit shell-shocked in game 1, and we weren't really ready for what was to come. Buffalo came at us early, and we just never really got the ability to come back from that. So I think, this game we were a lot more ready to go. It seemed like we knew what was coming. We played a much better game overall as a result, and obviously a big win ties the series up. We're going back to Montreal Sunday at 6 Central, 7 p.m. in Montreal, but that's going to be a big game 3. Obviously, now we know what's going on. Now we get the home fans behind us, so it's going to be a big game here. I'm looking forward to that one. Obviously, I think they kind of just follow the keys of the game. Obviously, we're still waiting for that top line to come on a little bit and really dominate on 5-on-5. We haven't really seen that yet, but I think they're getting there. They're chipping away at it a little bit. I think that it's about they're bound to come out and have a good performance sooner rather than later here. But we're continuing to benefit from our depth guys here, and it's hard to even call Newhook a depth guy, but we're getting good plays from our depth guys outside of the top line, the top unit guys. So, I like to see that. That's obviously big for us. It's the main reason why we're here at all in this second round. So, continue to work on that, and just getting those top guys going is going to be a big thing. But outside of that, just continue to be ready to go, forechecking hard, playing responsible defensively, all that kind of stuff. They did those things today, and it's a big reason why we come away with a 5-1 win. They just have to continue to play like that, and this series is ours. Obviously Buffalo is going to change their game plan. They're going to be ready to go in Montreal. The crowd is going to hype up both teams. So they've obviously got to be ready to go and ready to play in both ends of the ice here, but I feel pretty confident about where we're at right now. And, obviously after a big 5-1 win, the only game this postseason where my heart rate hasn't gone through the roof by the end of it. So that's obviously a bonus for my physical health. But it's a big game, big win for the Canadiens. Now just looking to game 3, we got to do those exact same things, find a way to, continue to chip away at them offensively, play responsible defensively, not get sucked in by some of the chippiness and all that kind of stuff, and we're going to be golden there. So obviously still waiting for those top guys to go. They're going to get there, and once they get going, we're going to be unstoppable. So really happy with this performance overall. That's pretty much all I have to say about this game. It was just a fantastic game for the Canadiens from start to finish. Probably the least exciting game from a neutral perspective out of all of them. We just kind of took control and never gave it up the whole time. So that's obviously nothing I'm gonna complain about right now. But yeah, like overall, great game. Looking forward to Sunday here. It's gonna be a big game. Obviously second round. The fans are gonna be crazy out there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Big game for the Canadians coming up on Sunday. Let's take a 2-1 series lead, get a big win on Sunday. Go Habs, go!